Hello, my name is Rosalinda Reese, and this is my second year here at Fresno State. I am majoring in criminology with an emphasis in law enforcement.
I'm Leslie Sanchez. This is my first year here at Fresno State, and I'm majoring in business. We are a part of Animals in Society, Spring 2019, Session 5, and the topic we were given was GMOs in animals. In this presentation, we will be covering the arguments against GMOs in animals.
What are GMOs in animals? Genetic modification of an animal involves altering its genetic material by adding, changing, or removing certain DNA sequences in a way that does not occur naturally. It aims to modify specific characteristics of an animal or introduce a new trait, such as disease resistance or enhanced growth. DNA in the genetic material of an organism and carries the instructions for all the characteristics that an organism inherits. In research studies, animals that have been safely genetically modified include cattle, pigs, chickens, goats, sheep, dogs, cats, fish, rats, and mice. The first GM animal likely to be marked as food in a GM salmon is a genetically modified salmon, which is awaiting approval for human consumption in the US. Also, when you genetically modify an animal, organism, or food, it's when you basically cloning and replicating specific cell types from a parent cell or replicating a cell or DNA to a particular desirable genetic trait. Productive cloning is used if the intention is to generate an animal that has the same nuclear DNA as another currently or previously existing animal. The process used to generate this type of clone animal is called somatic cell nuclear transfer. Food companies even see the risk of consuming milk or meat for genetically modified animals. Therefore, they refuse to sell or use anything. The process of genetically modifying animals could be potentially very harmful to all the animals that are affected during the experiment taken when they are genetically modifying animals could cause them to die or even be born deformed during these experiments. The genetically modified animal experiment will affect their natural way of life. Numerous health problems increased after GMOs were introduced in 1996. The percentage of Americans with 3 or more chronic illnesses jumped from 7% to 13% in just 9 years. Food allergies skyrocketed, and disorders such as autism, reproductive disorders, digestive problems, and others are on the rise. Although there is no sufficient research to confirm that GMOs are a contributing factor, doctors groups such as the AAEM tell us not to wait before we start protecting ourselves and especially our children who are most at risk. By mixing genes from totally unrelated species, genetic engineering unleashes a host of unpredictable side effects. Moreover, irrespective of the types of genes that are inserted, the very process of creating a GM plant can result in massive collateral damage that produce new toxins, allergens, carcinogens, and nutritional deficiencies. Genetically modified crops and their associated herbicides can harm birds, insects, amphibians, marine ecosystems, and soil organisms. They reduce biodiversity, pollute water resources, and are unsustainable. For example, genetically modified crops are eliminating habitat for monarch butterflies, whose population are down 50% in the US. As an additional motivation to avoid GMOs, you may wish to take a lesson from the animals. Eyewitness reports from around the world describe several situations where animals, when given a choice, avoid genetically modified food. These include cows, pigs, geese, squirrels, chickens, and even buffalo.
Ethical issues of GMOs. The three R's are reduction of animal numbers, refinement of practices, and husbandry to minimize pain and distress, and replacement of animals with non-animal alternatives wherever possible. The three R's claim to minimize any pain the animal goes through, but there is evidence of public concerns that go beyond the three R's. GMOs in animals requires a lot of animals for their experiments, and a majority of the animals do not survive. Only a small percentage of the animals that do survive carry the genetic alteration of interest. They have to sacrifice the animals and do a lot of surgical procedures. There has been little data collected about the net welfare impacts to the GMO animals or the ones that are required for the process. It is difficult to predict the effects on the animals being experimented on, and the people experimenting have no idea if the animal will survive or not. Telos essence and purpose of a creature is something that should not be changed and is morally wrong. Risk associated with GMOs in animals: infertility, immune problems, accelerated aging, faulty insulin regulation, and changes in major organs and the gastrointestinal system are just a few and many risks that humans take eating GM foods from animals. GMOs can cause allergies, and there is no test that can guarantee otherwise. Risk associated with GMOs in animals: infertility, infertility, immune problems, accelerated aging, faulty insulin regulation, and changes in major organs and the gastrointestinal system are just a few and many risks that humans take eating GM foods from animals. GMOs can cause allergies, and there is no test that can guarantee otherwise. Eating foods with GMOs can cause antibiotic resistance. They can also decrease nutritional value in GMO foods, even if the foods are labeled all natural or natural. Cross-contamination is also a risk you're taking eating GMO foods. A genetic engineering a food animal entails certain risks. It is possible, for example, that the expression of novel proteins could cause allergic reactions in susceptible people. The likelihood that a foreign protein is allergenic depends on the particular gene product, the food in which it appears, and the individuals who consume it. Concerns regarding GMOs. GMOs in animals raise welfare problems. Transgenic animals have an impact on human activities. Transfer of genetic materials from one animal to another can raise serious health concerns between animals and humans. New diseases can start to spread from animals to animals, and those diseases can even get to humans. There is no hard evidence that GMOs are not bad for humans' health. The cost of the animals being experimented on always outweighs the benefits coming from the GMOs being tested in them, and this violates their rights. Having these animals tested do not benefit their own species whatsoever and usually cause them pain and discomfort. The animals' lives should not be risked if they are not sure of them surviving. Researchers can use other organisms like plants to avoid killing all of these animals. Killing off all of these animals for our own good is something that is not right. If it was humans risking other humans' lives, people would not be okay with it, so why is it any different for animals? GMOs in animals are bad for human health and can spread diseases within the animals. So why would researchers want to keep having GMOs in animals if it's risking our health?
Overall, GMOs are bad for animals' health as well as humans who consume GMOs. Animals' lives are at risk because of the inhumane experiments that are being injected into them. New diseases can spread from species to species and can eventually spread to humans.
The following pictures are animals affected by GMOs.
But overall, the most affected by these experiments are rats.
Please watch this short video on the effects of GMOs.
In September 2012, the first long-term study on the effects of GMOs being consumed by live organisms was completed. The results were disturbing. GMOs turn food into poison. Consumption of such foods may cause a massive increase in cancer for all who eat them. When tested on rats, genetically modified foods cause them to develop horrifying tumors and other related diseases. 70% of the female population died prematurely, and virtually all of them suffered severe organ damage from consuming GMOs. From the beginning of the 1990s, the number of companies producing GMO products has grown exponentially. Today, 75% of the food at Canadian grocery stores contains genetically modified ingredients, mainly in the form of four crops: corn, soy, cotton, and canola. Among the products you buy, GMOs can be found in meats, alcohol, soft drinks, juices, dairy products, frozen food, pasta, canned goods, baby food, cereal, bread, cosmetics, and even shampoo. This is not even half of the list. It is the worst trial and error case in the history of the food industry. The mass poisoning of billions of people with a toxic food crop that was never properly tested. Corporations are risking the future health and sustainability of life on this planet to pad their own pockets. They may have the power of industry, but we have each other. Our unity can protect us. Don't let anyone destroy our future. Join us today.
These are our references where we got all our information from. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.